Preseason is going terrific. We're healthy. We're getting better. Like I've said, we have a good mixture of veterans and youth. So it's definitely been a process, a learning environment. Older guys helping the younger guys, but I think it's been one of the better preseasons I've had since I've been here.
Have you figured out a starting five yet? Do you kind of have that?
We're going to have healthy competition until the last day. We're getting close, though. We're getting close. I'm not ready to reveal.
Secret?
No, it's not a secret, but I'm not ready to reveal.
Pat, my mic's working. What
Great.
about, do you have you kind of figured out a general, how many guys you're going to use in a rotation type thing, or is that something that you kind of use the non-con to figure out who's ready, who's not?
You know, the last couple weeks, I've played 10, easy. But I think the non-conference is really going to tell, you know, our rotation and what everybody's confident with and what we all trust. I think that's the most important thing. You know, I feel like we should be able to go to our bench and get better. That's what I feel like if we do this the right way. So it could be 8, it could be 9, it could be 10. But I think the non-conference is really going to determine that. And our friends in the striped shirts are also going to determine a lot of that as well. How deep we're going to go in the first and second half.
And you talked early in the preseason media day about DJ kind of being the guy then at the point. Has there been any different developments since then, or are you still looking at it kind of the same way you were then?
You know, I'm a big film watcher, as you know, and I'm huge on statistics, and the analytics piece of the game. I'm still looking at it to make sure what makes us the best team, and what's going to give us the most success throughout the game. There's definitely going to be times and good chunks of time that he will play the point. I'm just not dead set on saying that he's going to start that way. We'll look at it this week a little bit further, look at some plus minuses like they do in hockey, and we'll try to put together the best 5 that will, again, give us the best chance.
Coach, you know, around this time of year, a lot of lists, predictions, all that stuff kind of comes out. And, you know, for the guys that watch the team regularly, you know, it seems like DJ Newbill hasn't really been on a lot of, like, the kind of national lists, not a lot of the Big Ten lists, which is kind of surprising for a guy that was second in the Big Ten. Do you feel like for, like, the outside, people that don't really see this team a lot, he's kind of underrated?
Man, I'd love to answer that in a totally different way. DJ definitely is underrated, and I think it's a good thing because that's going to continue to make him hungry and really get after it. Not that he wouldn't anyway. I think some of these guys, when they're preseason All-American, preseason first team, there's an added pressure and added stress. I don't think he needs that, so he doesn't feel that added piece, which is a good thing. But I think it's easy for national sports writers just to talk about the Blue Bloods because I guess they're driving their website or their Twitter accounts and whatever. So why would you put up a guy from Penn State? So it's disappointing, obviously, for us because he deserves to be on or at least mentioned in some of these, top 100 or top, preseason All Big Ten. But again, I think DJ's okay with it. He's secure with who he is. And he's just going to go out and do what he did last year.
Sure. And then, you can always go to him for scoring. We've seen that the past couple of years. Brandon Taylor contributed at times. But for a team that has struggled to shoot in the past, what players have you seen kind of step up? Or has there been any players that have stepped up and really made strides offensively in this preseason?
Yeah, we're shooting at a very good clip right now. I mean, obviously, we've worked on our shooting all summer, all spring, all summer, all fall. It's definitely been something that's put in the practice plan immediately. But Brandon Taylor's shooting at a high clip. Shep Garner is shooting at a very high clip. Obviously, DJ is as well. Peyton Banks, John Johnson. So it presents a problem for our opponents if we can get off to a good start and our guys could, have pretty good percentages from 3. But the other thing we're working on is uncontested ones. I think the last few years we've taken some tough ones, some contested ones, not great ones. So we can get away from those. I think percentages will go up. So we've worked on our passing which is leading up to the shot. And we've worked on our prep work, which is our footwork leading up to the shot. So little things like that I think will be beneficial for our guys.
You mentioned the guys in the striped shirts earlier. Last year, your guys had some trouble adjusting to the new emphases, and you could make some corrections for that during the season. But how did you handle that during the offseason and the preseason in terms of what you stressed and how you want your guys playing defense within the confines of Major League?
It's a great question, and I did something this year that I haven't done as a head coach. We had officials every Saturday for the last 6 weeks. Yeah, give or take, 6 weeks. We practiced for 4 or 5 days scrimmage. Practice 4 or 5 days scrimmage. Practice 4 or 5 days scrimmage, so we can get a better idea of how many. We're playing hard, but we're playing hard and fouling, which kind of negates you playing hard. So we're trying to get away from that. We don't want to be the first one to let the opponent into the one-on-one or the double bonus. So I see us getting better. The last couple weeks, you had an assortment of refs from all over the country, different leagues. It wasn't as great as I thought it would be because of what we did the prior 4 weeks. But it's a work in progress. But it's something that we're working on, playing hard without fouling.
How valuable is that not only for the DJs and Rosses who have seen that line kind of move, but also for the Sheps and the new guys who are coming in and they don't know what the line is at all?
No, you're exactly right. I mean, last year you're dead on. We had to adjust in the beginning of a 10-game stretch. That's hard to do. I mean, it cost us games. But now we're more prepared and ready to go, and we understand what they're looking for or what the point of emphasis is.
Tim had 182 assists last year, I think it was. About 3 times as many as the next guy behind him. Do you need your point guard to be a facilitator to that extent, or do you want to moneyball it and kind of get this as a collective to try and get, not 182, but that kind of amount?
Good. I like it. I might steal that from you, Ben. Yes, I'd rather moneyball it. We're going to have sometimes 3, and counting Ross as a 3-4, there could be 4 guards on the floor at one time. All 4 of those guys can push the ball. Instead of looking for Tim and let him being the maestro, it can go out to 4 guys now and just push the ball. We know what spots to fill and we know where we're going. So I'd rather have that. And like I said, I'd rather have 4 guys averaging between 13 and 10 rather than have one guy averaging 25 and the next guy averaging 9. I think it just makes us a tougher team to guard. And when other guys are making plays other than that one guy, it makes us a tougher team to guard. So it's nice so far. I think we've done a very good job of passing the ball and sharing the ball and getting uncontested shots so far in the preseason. But now it's the real deal, so we'll see how they react with fans and the lights on.
Not to say that you don't want Tim, because obviously we know everything that he brought to the table, but do you think you're better off in the long run if you have a team where these guys are sharing the ball successfully rather than, it seems like there are times, and maybe it makes sense that the team would be like, well, Tim's going to save us in this situation or make that play that we need, and now that you have multiple guys you need to make those plays, is that better off basketball-wise?
I would say if Tim was healthy or junior year, I could argue against what you're saying. You know what I mean? If he didn't blow his Achilles out, I think we would have been pretty good, really good actually. Yeah. I think it's just different. It's just different teams, and that's what my job is, to tailor it to each team. Tim was a great point guard, a really, really good point guard, and there's days where I notice he's not in the gym. We miss him. I miss him. You know what I mean? That extension of you that you know what you're going to get from him on a daily basis. You miss that. However, on the flip side, what you're saying is, you got multiple guys making plays. Now they're not going to load up against one guy. Now they got to worry about 5 guys instead of, they know Tim's going to make the play at the end of a clock. They know Tim's going to get a flat ball screen at the end of a clock. At the end of a game, we're probably going to go to Tim. Where we changed it up, and I think that's where DJ had some success towards the end of the year, where we changed it up and went to him, and he was able to score some major hoops for us. So.
I know you can't wait for Friday, but as long as everything goes to plan, tomorrow is a good day for the program. I know you can't get into specifics right now, but just what does tomorrow mean for you as a coach, the coaching staff, and this program moving forward?
Wow, that's a great question. I haven't really thought about it. I'm so proud of my staff. For 3.5 years, these guys, have worked so hard at knocking on doors, and I'm going to use sales type cliches here, but like getting the phone hung up on them and people not responding to them, and that is hard. That is hard to swallow sometimes. But they kept a great attitude, they kept working hard, they stayed positive, and we just saw little victories, small successes. And if you do that, that one yes will finally come. That second yes will finally come. And for them to do what they did over the last 3.5 years is a tribute to them and their work ethic and their organization and detail. It's a monumental day tomorrow if all goes well for this program and the history of the program. I don't think, Ben, you would know. I mean, I'm not sure where this ranks, but it has to be the best, if not the best, all time in the history of Penn State.
How much can these bigger yeses propel you and make it a little easier where people are going to stay on the phone and open doors?
Yeah, because I think that helps you win. You know what I mean? You're going to start winning, so people are going to start wanting to come, and then you're going to start getting, they're going to start helping you recruit other great players. No, the great recruiters are not mean. It's the players. The players are the great recruiters. And now you got a couple guys committed. Now they're the great recruiters. I think you're going to start seeing that. And I think what we all want here at Penn State and what we always wanted over the history is just consistency. And I'm hoping for that. You know, I think the class that we have in here now, the Shep Garner class, I think it's a solid class. I think you're really going to like it and you're going to see it. And this next class coming in is going to keep it going. And then we got a nice class already coming behind that. So if we can be consistent with our effort in recruiting, I think that gives you consistency in your program.
Coach, you mentioned how DJ kind of fits in the point guard and his role. How do you see Devin and Shep fitting in there? And is there a certain amount of minutes or rotations that you want to get each of them, especially early in the season, to get them experience?
You know what? Because of the way I've done the preseason, I have a good sense of minutes, and I have a good sense of the rotation, a good sense of a sense. I'm not saying I'm committed to it yet. I'm still working on it over the next few days, but I think Shep and Devin are going to see some time. I don't think it's fair that DJ would play 40 minutes at the point. I don't think that would help anybody. I think just mixing him up, keeping the defense off balance, keeping the opponents off balance would be best for this team. And that's why I'm not committing to anything right now, because we got to see what happens the next 3 days and going into Morgan State.
And late in the year last year, we saw Jordan Dickerson come on and play a lot more and getting that starting lineup. Have you seen him kind of take a jump this year, and especially after getting off to a late start with the transfer and starting with the team playing last year? How much do you see, I guess, him improving and his kind of role taking the next step this year?
Yeah, he's improved. He's getting better. He's in great shape. Some of our inter-squad scrimmages, he played over 30 minutes, which have been very difficult for him last year. I think we could only play him between 18 and 20 because of his win and condition. So I feel really good about where he is physically. I feel really good about where he is mentally. His skill development has gotten a lot better. He had a great offseason. So I see him playing some major minutes and playing a major role like he did last year.
Coach, is there a specific position or just area of the team where you're most comfortable heading into the season opener?
Wow. As coaches, I don't know if we're ever use that word comfortable. I don't think we're ever comfortable with anything.
Maybe most pleased with?
It's just so early on that I want it. We're a little bit greedy sometimes. You want it all now. You want it now, like today. But it's a process. Obviously, this is year 4, and I know all about processes. So it's a process. We have to continue to get better. We have to continue to develop. We have to see the best 5 guys who like to play with each other. We have to see how our rotations go. We have to see who complements one another. I think that's an important factor. Who complements one another, who understands their role, and who's going to be okay with giving themselves up sometimes. I think we're getting to a good area. I'll tell you, I'm really pleased with our big men. I think their development and their skill, Brandon Taylor, Ross Travis, Jordan Dickerson, Donovan Jack, Julian Moore, Alan Wisniewski, they make us a really good team. Something that we haven't had. The pressure has been taken off our guards to make all the plays. These guys are high IQ guys, and they're very skilled. And I'm excited about them and how they're going to grow over these first 2 months headed into the Big Ten.
And that being said, have you seen glimpses of, the potential for this team so far in the preseason?
I would say not yet, because I've played so many different lineups to see what would be the best lineup and to see what we like the most and what's the most effective. And there's always a great defensive team, and then there's always a great offensive team, and I think we need a nice mixture. So we're still kind of toying around with that, but we're close. We're getting close to something I really will be happy with.
Coach, you talked about Jordan coming in the middle of last year, and also John. Just how much of a benefit is it going to be for him playing this whole year? It seemed like last year was a difficult adjustment for him at times. What are some of the things you're seeing out of him so far?
John is doing exactly what we need him to do. Okay, whether he starts or comes off the bench, he needs to be another scorer, and he needs to think scorer. Now his shot selection has to get better, and we know that, and he's done that in the preseason. He has to continue to drive the ball. He has to get himself to the free throw line, and he's shooting at a much higher clip from 3 than he did last year. So that's his role on this team. He's a scorer, and I'm not going to take that away from him. And that's it. You know what? We need it. We need it. To be successful, we're going to need that. So it'll help. Again, it'll help DJ. It'll help Brandon Taylor. It'll help our bigs if he can be a consistent scorer on a daily basis.
Going back to recruiting, when you hired Dwayne Anderson, it looked like to a certain extent that you're getting a former player. I mean, obviously he turned down a pretty good situation to come here, but he seems to have been probably as good of a hire as you could have expected him to have been with the amount of results that he's gotten for you. I mean, did you expect that to happen? Not to throw him under the bus and say you didn't expect big things from him, but he's certainly been a fruitful.
You know what? And I think my staff would say the same thing here. Dwayne Anderson's character and integrity and humility, that is what makes him great. I recruited Dwayne Anderson. You said it. He had a nice contract on the table. I went after him because I thought he would be terrific, not only as a mentor, but on the floor, player development, and then recruiting. I thought he'd open some doors for us, no question about it. And this is where I give credit to Keith and Brian, teaching him the ropes, helping him out, helping him understand relationships. And he's obviously been terrific all around, like the rest of my staff has, of trying to be mentors for these guys and not getting too high, not getting too low, and just continue to pound on that rock.
And in terms of the class that you can't talk about, you have the one that's already here. You have the one that, all things being equal, signs tomorrow, and you have the start of a one after that. And that, you mentioned consistency and what have you, but that kind of snowball hasn't really been here that way before. How important is that, and how much easier does it make it when people say no, because you know that you've got guys already in the bag? Because you've lost some recruiting battles that you would have liked to have won, but you've had these other guys that you can't talk about already.
Thank you for keep saying that, because I don't want to get in trouble. It's critical to the success of this program and the longevity of this program and the consistency of this program. We have to get the right kids that fit Penn State, and the kids that said no, maybe they weren't the right fit, and that's okay. And you know what? We're not mad at them. They chose to go somewhere else. But the kids who chose to come here over the last 3.5 years, well, they're special kids. They're special kids. Just like I said about Dwayne. I mean, these kids are exactly that way. Hardworking kids with great character, that are into their academics, that understand what Penn State can provide for them, the opportunity that Penn State provides for them, not just on a basketball level, but on a lifetime level, on a social level. I mean, you name it. When the ball stops bouncing, Penn Staters are going to take care of these kids, and that's what's so special. That's why I give these kids a lot of credit.
Last thing, on the defensive side of the ball, Gino seems like a guy who could really excel there, and maybe I'm just reading that wrong, but he kind of reminds me, of Aaron Kraft in the sort of like really good at defense and can score on occasion when you need him. Do you read it that way? What do you think his defensive ceiling is?
I think I'm going to go. I would say Gino's defense is unbelievable. Okay, and he's going to guard, and he's tough. He's a bulldog. But I think his offense is coming, and he's had some really good weeks where he's been knocking down shots, being aggressive, getting to the basket, and getting in an open floor, which he's really, really good at. And we need to make sure we put him in that position. I think he creates turnovers, he creates deflections. He, you know what? Sometimes he's that straw that gets our defense going. You know what I mean? He's the guy that ignites our defense smacking the floor. Everybody talking, everybody's fired up. And that would help him because that means he's getting out, he's dunking the ball, he's hitting open threes. But I don't know if it's Aaron Kraft-esque, but it's definitely a top defender in this league for years to come. Nate?
My math is not good, but I think you play 7 games in 2 weeks.
You are correct.
That's a lot of games in
Yes, it is.
a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Is there any trick to that? Anything special you're doing to prepare for that?
You know, I think sometimes the calendar doesn't help us. And then we were in this Charleston Classic, which is kind of tough to figure out. And then we were able to add a game because of the Charleston Classic. And I just, with the mixture of talent that we have, of veterans and youth, I wanted to give them every opportunity to put on that jersey and to continue to get better and continue to prepare for the Big Ten. I know 7 and 14 is a little bit crazy, but so is some Big Ten weeks, and so is the Big Ten tournament, and so on and so forth. So we're just trying to prepare them, get them mentally tough, get them mentally ready, and it's going to challenge me to be able to, sit some guys when I need to sit them, and understand that we have to use our bench.
Were you one of the point guys on Dwayne when he played at Villanova, as far as recruiting him to Villanova?
I was not, but when he prepped a year. That's when we became very close.
Okay.
I was the director of ops at the time, and then obviously we took off from there. We kind of grew up together at Villanova, and we went to the Final Four together. He was graduating, and then I moved on to BU. So we had there was an amazing picture. He actually, he had to do something last night for me, and he put the picture of me kissing him on the forehead. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. It's pretty funny. In the folder, so it gave me a good laugh, which is his personality and his charisma, which is great, because you need a good laugh sometimes.
How much has he been kind of a sponge, both in terms of coaching the guys here and in terms of recruiting, as far as what do I need to do with this? Because he's learning on the go. He has that character, he has the player experience, but how's he been adjusting to learning the whole coaching game?
He's been incredible. He's always coming in my office with a notepad and pen. He's going in the Brian and Keith's office, notepad and pen. Sits with Coach Kahn, a notepad and pen. Just wants to learn the entire business, not just certain areas. He's trying to get better in every area so he can be the best he can be. And that's when you got a guy, what he's done in his career, and then what he gave up, and being as humble as he is, who's like a sponge, as you say, there's no question he's going to be a big-time coach for many, many years.